Welcome back to the Out of Office podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the number one issue that we hear from everybody trying to start their own online business, and that is niche. And we're going to be talking about really bad advice, really good advice, and we're going to be showcasing some of the craziest niches that we have found.
Now give it to me.
All right, so the number one thing that we hear from anybody who's trying to start an online business and who's hesitant or they don't know what to do or if it's the right path for them is niche. It's like, what is my niche? What would I sell? What do I talk about? I'm not good at anything. How do I find out what my niche is going to be? And that's your first step when starting a business. And so many people come into the space really, really wanting to start this online business, and they don't because they're too scared of picking a niche or picking the wrong niche. So we're going to talk about bad niche advice, good niche advice. What even is a niche? Why are we getting so uptight about it? And really that your niche doesn't need to be that complicated.
Yeah. Picking a niche is not that deep. It's not that complicated. However, I don't blame anyone who was confused, because when everyone was first learning to pick a niche, the advice was so terrible and so vague. We were even confused.
Oh, yeah. And when we took our course, because we talked about that last episode too, we got into the space by a course like everybody.
Yeah.
We didn't have niche advice. We weren't really taught on niche. What we were taught to do is, because we entered the space through affiliate marketing, we were told to go on sites like JVZoo and ClickBank, find a product with the highest commission rate, and then create a really cheesy landing page that would just convince people to enter their information and try to buy the product.
If you don't know what those sites are, they're these awful websites, and they are just full of thousands of products that people are, I feel like it's just
digital products.
They're all digital products. And I feel like people, there's some physical products on there too. There's some wild supplements and stuff like that. But it's the stuff that is so bad and obviously does not work that they cannot sell it on a regular website. It's just terrible. And so a lot of these courses where affiliate marketing was the main focus, they're just go on these websites and sign up to be an affiliate. And then you're going to talk about that product on your social media page. You're going to promote that product. And then when they buy that product, you're going to get a commission. But it was terrible products. It wasn't there was never would you buy this yourself or would you sell this to your family? And so niche was never part of that conversation, because they're if you want to make money online, this is what you're going to do. And so that's exactly how we got started. We're well, if that's the way, then we're going to get into it. And then it wasn't until shortly after that we're I don't like this. We never promoted anything from those websites. I feel good and confident.
Thank God.
Because y'all never did that.
No, because I would never put my credit card information in for one of those products. I was how can I ask somebody else to do that? It was not for me. But through learning affiliate marketing, we grew on Instagram really quickly. And so my first digital product that I created was about Instagram growth. And that's kind of how I got into the space, online growth, online business, digital products. That was my entry point. Creating your own digital products. But it was through Instagram growth when I was really experimenting with content, and I realized that I'm kind of good at it and that I'm willing to learn how to do it. But that was kind of how my niche kind of found me. I found my niche too.
Right.
But there's a lot of bad niche advice. And before we get into the bad advice, talk about what exactly is a niche, because niche is it's this fancy marketing term. It's not for just a topic or for something that you talk about. And so when we talk about niche, we like to break it down and make it much, much simpler. Well, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to teach? What do you want to do? Because that's really what your niche is.
Yeah, we were just talking about what word did we use before niche existed? It's not we went to the store and we were what, when people were opening Blockbuster, we weren't wow, what's your niche? When people were opening
if you had said that to somebody in any business, they would have been what are you talking about? This is just what we sell. This is just what we talk about.
Right.
It's
we're
what
a
we do.
Bookstore.
Yeah. We literally Like we literally,
Have you heard of
I say
books?
this industry like took that word and they freaking ran with it,
Like-
and they just like coined it, and they're like, this is niche. This is it.
Like vitamin stores, they weren't like, our niche is wellness.
Yeah,
like,
no.
we're
They're like, this is just a topic. This is our industry.
Really, do you want to feel better?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're here
I
for
got
you.
some iron.
Yeah.
This is what I know, so this is what I'm talking about. And that's literally all.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
is.
the episode in Office when it's like, why use lot word when few word do trick?
We need to use that whenever we like tell our listeners how to do their marketing and messaging and stuff. Oh, perfect.
So
Oh my God.
good.
We like to quote The Office a lot.
Yeah. So niche is like the worst word. I think people
It's-
really get hung up on it.
It is a trigger word.
Yes. Because it sounds complicated.
Sounds
It's just
daunting.
not that deep.
So some of the worst niche advice, and this was perpetuated throughout the industry for the last 2 years, and it was like crazy popular. So anytime somebody was like, step 1, choose a niche. The evergreen niches are health, wealth, and relationships. And you're like, well, what the heck? I don't have any money. I'm just figuring out my relationship. What is the other one? Health. Oh, and I'm definitely not healthy.
Yeah.
They're like, so what do I do? And like, if those are the 3 niches that I need to pick from, like I'm screwed.
Well, but they failed to mention that these weren't just like health, wealth, and relationships aren't necessarily like a niche. Like they're just like a broad category.
Giant
They were just a
umbrella.
category that exists in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not wrong. They are evergreen because these are like they're based off of like human problems that will never go away.
And if you don't know what
needs.
evergreen means, it means they will never go out of style. Like they're always performing. People are always looking to be healthier. They're always looking for more money, and they always want to better their relationships. So when we say evergreen, it means that they are like they will never not be a popular performing niche.
Right. But I do think what happened was, and we talked about this in episode 1, is that when that advice came out, very much so like make money online, everyone was getting into it because that's what they were supposed to do. And then we had a bunch of people teaching people how to make money online who never made money online. The same thing happened is we had a bunch of people coming online to try to teach, everyone just assumed relationship advice meant like how to fix your marriage when it could have meant so many things.
Yeah.
But they, all of a sudden everyone was teaching people how to eat healthier and exercise when they probably weren't really doing that themselves to start with. And it was just these very vague, everyone was selling the same thing. Here's a couple recipes and morning workout routines.
But there's so many sub niches. Like for instance, last year I worked with a speech therapist for my son, middle son. I don't share his name here, but she's a speech therapist, but she worked with me to better my communication in my relationship with my son who has autism. And that is under the category of relationships. But
so specific.
But it's so
solving
specific.
a problem so helpful.
Yeah, and it was very specific what she was doing. She was a speech therapist, and she was helping mothers of autistic children communicate better with their kids, and that is under relationships. So that's just to show you how broad of a category it is, and that like there are so many options within those.
There's also a lawyer in Texas, and I can't Fisher, Fisher, maybe Jefferson. I can't remember, but I follow him, and he wrote a book, but he's a lawyer and he teaches people how to communicate. That would also fall under relationships, really just teaching you how to communicate, how to set boundaries respectfully. And same, that also falls under relationships. So people get bogged down with how in the world, what would my niche fall under? And also your niche does not have to fall under those 3 categories.
No, it does not.
They perform well, sure, but that doesn't mean that's what you have to do.
It was literally a recommendation. It was like a safe recommendation because, you're afraid of, what you're talking about going out of style. But unless you're just hopping on some random short-lived trend, then you're solid. You don't have to worry about that.
No, but within wealth, you could teach people how to budget.
Yeah.
You could teach people how to invest, how to buy their first, rental property. These are,
or like teaching people how to teach your kids about money.
yeah.
Or giving your kids
It
allowance.
could be like teaching someone how to write a check.
Yeah,
there's so many different.
There's so many options, and people, I think what happened was, which you were mentioning, like people heard wealth and they're like, oh, well then I just learned how to make money online. So I can also get into wealth and teach people how to make money online. And that
Right.
started a whole thing. And it got really out of hand. But there's just so many options. And I think that when all of these brand new people who are trying to start a business got introduced to the health, wealth, and relationships, it was super overwhelming. And they're like, I'm just trying to learn how to do the foundations of this, the basics. And so how am I supposed to like come up with this super like individualized niche? Like it just felt so overwhelming. And because I remember when we were getting started, I felt like I was learning a new language. I was like, how is this? I was just waiting for it to all make sense and click into place as I was learning it. And so when I got pitched these like really broad topics, I'm like, I can't even process this. Like this is too much. And that's what happened to everyone. Well, there's obviously some exceptions, but the majority of people.
I think the worst part about this advice, though, is that because they all filtered into these categories, they missed the niche that they should have been in. They just didn't even consider any of the other.
Right.
Meanwhile, they're like
options.
Wildly talented at these like random things. We're
Oh
like,
my
what
gosh,
are you doing?
yes, like wildly talented at probably 4 or 5 other things that they're doing on a daily basis. That would have been so easy to create products and create content, but they never had the opportunity to even consider them for themselves.
Well, along that, we had 2 other bad pieces of niche advice.
Yeah.
What were the other 2? Because I had mine. That was my number 1.
Then another one was, and this one drove me crazy too, was how like to find a gap in the market and then fill it.
Oh yeah.
Like as if these people who are generally people who are already working a 9-to-5, probably have kids or dogs or a family they're taking care of. They're like, all right, friend, if you want to be successful in this space, now you need to go on the internet and start doing market research, which we're really not going to tell you how to do it. And you need to find a gap in the market, something that people need that they don't have, and then fill it. Like, so now you're basically asking these brand new people trying just to learn how to start a business to be an inventor.
Now, go and be a market analyst.
Yes.
Right. Let's pretend like
analyst.
Market analyst.
Let's pretend like your best friend works for Google and they have all of like the background analytics and they're just going to tell you where all the gaps are.
Right.
Crazy.
Yes, and they were getting you to go on like these crazy websites. What was it? I don't know. There was like these websites that you could go on to do market research, but they were impossible to like comprehend. They were not
user friendly.
They were not user friendly. It was not like good for like lay people who did not have like market research experience. It was asking an impossible ask. I'm like, you like, we're not on Shark Tank. Like, you're not here to invent something new. We're here to talk about something that you already know.
Right.
Let's pretend like you did find this magical gap. How, like, who's to say that that's even something that you could have, like, that you would have enjoyed or been good at or known how to create a product for?
No.
Like,
yeah, this advice relies on everything outside of you.
Right.
Instead of being like, what are you good at? And what's the third piece of bad advice? Like our last really, really socking it to you piece of advice.
The one that always got me was just do what you're passionate about, because it was so vague. There was never any instruction behind it. They would just like literally word vomit, just go do your passion. And then they just dropped you. They were like, all right, move on. Like, now you've got your passion. I was like, oh wait, what's my passion? What do
I've been working for the last 15 years. I'm not passionate about anything.
Right, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Am I passionate about what? Coffee?
Sleep.
Like sleep? I'm just trying to brush my hair every day.
I'm passionate about trying to quit my 9-to-5.
Yeah,
I'm passionate about not having to do laundry every single day.
I'm passionate about getting to go to Target in the middle of the week when no one else is there.
Yeah.
There was just no instructions behind it at all. And I think that left everyone 10 times more confused than they started.
To be honest, it gave me a little bit of like high school PTSD because
You're like, what do you want to be for the rest of your life?
Yes, it was literally that, because when somebody asked me, when I saw like, just pick what you're passionate about, I felt like I was a senior all over again. And they're like, okay, what college are you going to go to? What is your major going to be? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm good at yet because I'm 18 years old.
Yes.
And granted, I'm 30 now. But when you present that to someone like me or like you, or like we have kids and we had full-time jobs and we were literally just surviving. And then we didn't have time for hobbies. I sure didn't. I was living off on like within fight or flight 24/7, like just trying to like provide and take care of my kids. And so,
for sure.
yeah. And I was like, I don't have a hobby, bro. Like when my head hits the pillow, I'm out. Like, and then I wake up and I do it all again. Like, what do you
My hobby
mean?
is making sure that my kids take a bath and they
Yeah.
eat dinner and everyone has a backpack ready for the next morning.
I didn't
Like
even,
self-care who?
yeah,
Yeah.
hobby. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I do like to sleep, get my 8 hours in every single day.
I guess I could sell melatonin.
I would like, my hobby right now is like calculating how much PTO I have. Like or what's my accrual rate going to be next
Occasionally,
year?
we like to redo the occasional piece of marketplace furniture, but it's not like we were
It was
exceptionally
like
good at it.
once every 2 years.
Yeah, it was when we needed a piece of furniture and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is actually fun to redo this. I'm glad we like this so we can keep getting cheap marketplace furniture.
And don't get me wrong, your niche can be your passion.
It can be, for
It
sure.
was just that specific advice with no follow-up and no instructions
Yeah.
was so overwhelming that I was like, oh, I guess I'm not meant for the online space.
Right.
I'm just done for.
They're like, I'm not good at anything. I'm not passionate about anything. I'm not particularly like skilled at anything.
yeah, I was like, if you have to have a passion, I'm out. I'm
Right.
going
Exactly. I
back
think that's
to
what a
the
lot of people
office.
said.
Oh, absolutely.
And like thinking back now, if I was reflecting on my experience and if I came into the space, honestly, I think I wouldn't even be starting a business on something I'm passionate about because I still don't think I'm passionate about anything in particular, unless it's like Lisa Frank and like millennial humor and
You're
movie quotes and stuff.
very weird, like very deep niche millennial
Yeah,
stuff.
super
Yeah.
deep. But if I were starting completely over, I think I would start a page that was like about PCOS. And it was about like kind of follow along. And here are the solutions that I found. I would have affiliate links for different supplements that I used. Now I would maybe have guides for the workouts that I do. And
Absolutely.
that kind
Something
of
you
keep
deal with
me,
every single day.
yeah, stuff that, and I'm not necessarily passionate about it,
Right.
but I live it every single day.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that a little bit more when we cover like good niche advice because
Yeah.
there definitely is good niche advice. But like we talked about a lot of negative things. So I want to talk about like something a little bit more fun. There are some wacky niches out there.
There's some really fun niches
And
that are entertaining.
They're so hilarious. And like this is not to like put like shade on anybody doing these things,
No.
but like we want to talk about some of the craziest niches we have found just to show you like you can talk about whatever you want. Like
and
the
people
sky
are going
is
to
the
find
limit.
you. Your people who are interested are going to find you.
If you are a certified weirdo, there are other certified weirdos your exact brand out there.
Yes. Who want to be friends with you and want to pay you to be your
Yes.
friend.
Yes.
For sure. They're not, I wouldn't say like they're crazy, but they're
just,
they're
like,
the ones we found are the ones that
unusual.
we found were unusual and funny and like we enjoyed looking up and
Yeah.
watching.
or people who used their skill, maybe a business they already had, a talent,
Yeah.
and then found weird ways to make more money from it.
Yeah, and we were like, wow.
And I'll talk about mine because mine's not as weird.
Okay, do it.
And I found her randomly on Instagram. I was in like a scroll hole. I don't know what I was doing, but I was scrolling when I tell everybody not to scroll. I was doing that.
Yeah,
that
obviously.
sometimes.
So, and I came across this photographer again, not a weird thing, but she's actually a boudoir photographer. I like watching that content because it's like kind of fun for me.
Well, and you've always wanted to do that too.
Well, it's like body positivity too. Some of them
Feel good, yeah.
yeah. I just kind of I like looking at the content. Anyway, so she's a boudoir photographer, but she said that she got a lot of unsolicited dick pics randomly on Instagram. She's like, these are so bad. She's like, number
funny
one.
that
The
she looked
pictures
at
she
him.
was
Yeah,
receiving were bad.
yeah, she was like, I was receiving these awful pictures, and she was like, I don't want them anyway. But if you're gonna send them, you should figure out how to do a good one.
Might as well make
Oh
him
my
good.
Like, might as well make them good. So she created a guide. I think it's $39 on how to take a good dick pic.
That is hilarious.
And people are buying it from
and they
her.
buy them, and she's got several different guides. She also has guides, which I love, for how to pose based on like your figure and just normal pictures.
for like just normal people
Just
taking
normal
her
pictures.
photos.
yeah, so
yeah.
people can take their own boudoir photos, right? Like from their iPhone.
I don't think
or-
it's even. Yeah, I think some
Just
of them
like
are
maybe
boudoir,
normal
but
posing,
maybe just
though.
normal posing, so you take good pictures at home.
Yeah.
But like, what a phenomenal way to take your service-based business,
Yeah.
photography,
Yes.
and create digital products that are, number one, interesting. People always want to know how to pose. I do not know how to pose in pictures.
That's genius because
so smart.
she had like the skill of photography, and then she just happened to have people sending her dick pics, and she's just like, you know what? I might as well teach them how to do it. She wasn't like, are people going to buy this? Are like, would this even sell? She like was probably not pulling her hair out over this. She just made it and she posted it, and it took off.
She probably did it to be snarky, because that's what I would
That's
do. Like,
hilarious.
quit
She
sending
did
me
do
these
it.
terrible
Unfortunately,
pictures.
Unfortunately, people probably bought the product and then took new photos and sent them all back to her.
She's like, oh, it's working.
asking for reviews, like
That's literally iconic.
like comparing, like this is before. Like, wait,
Yeah.
do you think she like did like you know how we do like
Before and
reviews
after?
Of, like,
before and
content
after?
audits?
They're like, this is before and after your product that
She
I
goes,
purchased
no,
from you.
let me give you some pointers.
Does she have like a secret portfolio of transformations?
Oh my gosh.
Hilarious. I don't want to see it.
Wow, your pictures are getting a lot better.
Hilarious.
A little
Or
to the
maybe she
left.
gets a bad picture. She's like, hey, you need this guide.
Oh my gosh.
And immediately makes money.
Thanks for the photo, but I'm gonna send you the link to my guide.
We need
Yeah.
to see if we can like interview her because that would be amazing.
She's anyway, but that was a fantastic take. I just randomly came across her stuff and looked at her stand store.
and that was,
and I
just
was
in
like,
her stand store.
huh?
And that was like in her stand
Yeah,
store.
it was
to
in
buy.
her stand store. I think she has like 2 different guides. She's got lots of different guides, but I was like, phenomenal.
Incredible.
And like marketed toward men. Like, she did a great job.
Yeah.
But that's just one way for you to consider things like within your niche. If you're good at photography, and I'm not saying make like a dick pic guide, but I'm saying
Right.
what are things that people ask you a lot within photography? And a lot of them is posing.
Yeah, posing is huge.
Like, can you sell a guide on how to pose? Can you sell
She-
presets?
That was perfect. She saw something on the internet. She took it and she immediately made a product out of it.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
It's
Yeah.
like it's all about just like if you have an idea, like don't overthink it. Just execute. And if it flops, it flops. Like
Yeah, you can make
have
another
fun.
product.
Yeah, you're not
Probably
losing
took
anything.
you a couple hours to put it together.
Right.
And
You're not losing any money.
cost you nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
cost you nothing. It's such a great move. I really want to interview her. That would be amazing.
And honestly, probably got her another 100,000 followers.
Oh,
because
probably.
it's funny.
It's hilarious.
Because for women, it's funny, and for guys, they're like, "Oh wait,
I
this
think, I think I need this.
this is how I finally get a date on Tinder." Like,
Ew.
Oh.
But yeah.
There's someone for everybody.
you've been using the word DICK, and I say
know.
Tinder, and you say ew.
No, I mean, just the idea of using Tinder.
I know. Or like trying to
I
find
don't
a
know.
date.
I've been married
with
since
a
I was
dick
20.
pic. Yeah.
I've
So
never
have
even
I.
had a
That's why
dating
Tinder
app.
scares me so
Yeah,
much.
Tinder does scare me. I feel like everyone's gonna get kidnapped. But anyways,
I'm gonna change the subject.
Do you dice?
oh my gosh,
Also, we said at the same time, pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
jinx.
Okay, so what is your? I think we all found a niche. We all found something like funny.
Yeah.
Something that we thought was entertaining.
Yeah.
So mine is a different take of the make money online niche because it's 100% in the make money online niche, but it's not anything I had ever seen anybody doing. Because anytime you hear make money online, somebody is like either reselling a course or teaching you how to, get into affiliate digital products, whatever. This lady, oh my gosh, I love this for her. She is teaching people how to break free from their 9-to-5. This is her bio. By learning how to be a professional pet communicator. And she is selling a course that teaches people how to be professional pet communicators and then sell their services.
Like a psychic?
Oh, and then I was like, how do you make money being a pet? Okay, you can like somebody could come and be like, hey,
And
Winnie's not listening. Like, can you tell me what's going on in her
or
head?
or like yeah, it's literally like but she's not marketing to the people who need the pet communication services. She's marketing to people, I guess, who love pets and are
Right.
Want to communicate
who
with
want
them.
to communicate and also want to break free from their soul crushing 9 to 5,
and
which is what it
who
says.
Can then learn to communicate with animals and then
Right.
go out and communicate with other people's pets.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow.
Like,
So
all right. So she
amazing.
doesn't even have to do the communicating with the pets.
no,
no, she teaches
she's
you
teaching you
how to communicate.
She's already a good pet communicator,
She
and she
created a
doesn't.
course and then she was like, you go communicate with the pets.
Maybe she did that before. Maybe she offered like services before, and she's like, you know what? I'm tired of doing all this work. I'm gonna just teach people how to do it themselves. Genius.
Right, these animals really be wearing on me.
like literally, like you could be sitting there thinking,
Their stress is so heavy.
I know. You can be sitting there thinking you have no skills, and this lady just happens to be like one with the animals, and that's like her gift.
She's
Some
like
people are, and she
really-
monetized it, and she's doing it, and she's got like almost 20,000 followers. I'm like, dude, that's incredible.
I wonder if it's limited to house pets or can we communicate with like the wilderness?
I would love that.
Oh, if I can talk to a whale,
Or a fox.
I'll go buy that. Or a fox.
Right, but are we talking like who is she communicating with? Who is
She's
she
really
teaching?
communicating with these corporate Hufflepuffs who were just like, how do I start talking to my
Yes.
pet frog
100%.
or to my leopard gecko?
How do I
It's
know
people
what
like
my
Megan,
leopard gecko wants to eat?
Neptune.
It's
Because-
people like Megan.
Well, yeah, because we have a couple leopard geckos, and sometimes I buy worms because I loved them, and the next week they don't want anything to do with them. If I could
Right.
just go in there and say, "Are you feeling a little crickety this week or wormy?"
I really don't want to
dubia
waste any
roaches?"
insects.
Right? Did you actually like
anything
that
from the
powder I
store?
bought last time? Right. What are we doing here?
Like when you ask your kid what kind of snacks they want from this.
Yeah,
Or like,
I could save so much
yeah,
money.
we could go talk to our chickens and be like, y'all are really holding out on us this week. Can you let me know what's going
Is it
on?
stuck
Is it
in
too
there?
hot?
Is
If I
it-
could talk to Waffles, the weenie dog, my
Yeah.
weenie dog, I would be ecstatic.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure I communicated with Honey
You did.
You
through
did,
her
though.
eyes.
Telepathically.
She and I were one.
Yeah.
You were.
And I can't get emotional about this. I saw a reel about pet grief yesterday, and it brought up a lot of things. So
It's been a long time.
it's been a really
Oh, before you get to yours, Jane, there just is like, there's one other, and
Okay.
I can't remember her handle, but she makes like custom jewelry using
Yeah.
people's bodily fluids that they send to her. And that could
Yes.
be
So many different types
any,
of fluids.
think of any type of bodily fluid. And
Anything.
And she will turn it into custom jewelry. Even like ashes, that's not that uncommon.
Right.
No,
But
that
like,
one's not
I'm
uncommon.
talking
okay with
like,
ashes.
I'm talking about,
Anyway, no.
no, I'm not going to say it. You can use your imagination. We're all adults here.
But like blood,
Yeah.
spit,
Anything.
anything.
Yeah.
You could have it on a necklace.
That's
You know
real.
what?
And she's selling it and people are buying it.
And yes, they buy
Yeah.
it.
And they put it on rings. Breast milk. I see a lot of breast milk.
Yeah,
ones.
that one's
one's
pretty
okay.
common.
That's for like
Sentimental moms.
that's like sentimental moms. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the one that you found?
Okay. So mine's actually a Facebook group, and it is just a guy who created an entire membership on Facebook for people who want to identify beetles. So like if you really just enjoy nature walks or you just like hanging with the beetles,
Specifically beetles.
specifically beetles, you just take a picture and you post it and everyone chimes in and they like tell you about the beetles, where they live,
But this is a paid membership.
a paid membership. So like you can totally take a picture and Google these beetles.
There's apps for that now.
apps and you can learn all about it. But what that lacks is the community of
The beetle
other
people.
beetle people.
And
Yeah.
they want
The
to have beetle
people-
talk.
They're paying for the beetle talk.
They want other beetle enthusiasts to
Yes.
connect with because maybe their partner is like, why do you like beetles so much? I don't understand. And they're like, oh,
it
they
could
just
be
don't
a-
get
Just
me.
don't get me.
It could be a hidden like love of theirs. They're too
Yeah.
embarrassed to tell their spouse that they love beetles. And so they pay, it's like not that expensive, I don't think, this membership fee for their beetle group. And they just chat about all sorts of things
This is
beetle related.
You know, if I was in that, I think I would post the same beetle over and over and just see what happens. Guys,
from different angles.
it's like all a June bug.
I would find like animated beetles from Lion King.
From Lion King.
You know when they lift up the log?
Photoshop them in the wild and just send people on a hunt for them.
Have y'all seen this beetle?
I would get the one. I would
This
just.
beetle's live at Landa Park now.
I was watching Lion King and Pumbaa lifted up a log and there was a lot of beetles under there.
Yeah.
What beetles are those?
One of them I know is a rhinoceros beetle.
Yeah,
true. I know
that's
that
like
one.
the
There's probably
real
a
one.
dung beetle in there somewhere.
But how come they made those bugs look so good?
They made them look so
Like,
good.
Because
it made
when
me
you
wanna
smushed
eat-
them, all the goo came out. That didn't.
But it
look
wasn't
good.
like goo. It was like crunchy.
That's
It
they're
still didn't look good.
Like I wanted to eat a bug after
slimy
watching that
and
scene.
satisfying. That's my favorite
Hakuna
movie.
Matata.
Hakuna Matata. Literally my favorite Disney movie of all time.
But
I never wanted to eat a
literally
bug so
somebody
bad.
was like, I talk to people about beetles so often, I'm gonna make people pay to talk to me about it. That's how easy it is to come up with an online product.
You can talk about any we love these ideas. Like we love coming across these random things that people are selling because it just goes to show that you can sell anything that you want to sell. And
Yes.
you're sitting here overthinking everything, like literally going through like 5 different ideas and you're like, I don't know which one to pick. Meanwhile, someone's making money talking about beetles.
Yeah, someone's got a forum on Facebook called Beetle Talk.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're not even like entomologists. Like
No.
they're not
For
beetle
sure.
pros.
They're just
This person
enthusiasts.
is not
no.
educated in beetles.
No, he just really likes beetles.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of them are like people in the group are entomologists either. It's just like regular people chatting about beetles.
There's probably one beetle person, like one, what did you call them?
entomologists.
Entomologist?
Entomologists.
Entomologist?
Entomologist.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't
You
know why I
have to say
remember
it-
that.
Oh my god.
Say it 3 times, not 5.
It's not an entomologist.
I said
They study
entomologist.
ants, obviously. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
There's probably one in there who joined just to roast everyone else and make them feel bad. Like, no.
Well, they're still paying, so
There's so
Right, I
many
know.
jokes on
I'm
them.
just saying, like, there's just that one probably in there. But everyone is so stressed about figuring out how to make an ebook. And you could just be chatting about whatever you like.
It's literally not about what you talk about. It's just how you talk about it.
Yes.
Like it's all about your messaging and your marketing. Like you can talk about anything you want to talk about in a structured way if you want to sell something. And, that's everything.
I would say know what you're, when it comes down to niche, know what you're doing.
yeah.
Like you do need to have some passion behind it, even if it's
Okay.
not necessarily passion, but you need to have some motive
Yeah.
that's going to keep you going,
For sure.
and make you look forward to doing it.
You don't want to hate it.
No,
But that takes us into what is some good niche advice. So we talked about the bad, we talked about the weird niches, and now you know it's possible. There's anything is possible. So let's talk about some good niche advice that you honestly need to hear. Because I know like a lot of our listeners are in that phase right now. They're just like, I don't know what to talk about. So
many of
we'll
them.
help you. We'll help you out a little bit. We got you. So I will start us off because I also have an example. So your niche does not have to be something that you can do. It doesn't have to be a skill. It does not have to be a passion. It doesn't have to be this like hobby that you have. It can literally just be lived experience. So I'm one of those people.
For sure.
Yeah, I have ADHD. I feel like I am semi-good at a lot of things. Only semi-good and not passionate about any of them because I'm a novelty seeker. I love trying new things. I hyperfixate and I will want to learn how to like river dance on a weekend and like go down rabbit holes of like watching videos. That's a true story.
river dancing.
I never actually put it into action, but yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know.
I am super disappointed.
Really
Lord
dodged-
of the dance over here.
I would have for sure.
I would have
I would pay to watch
roasted
her.
her.
because I just got really fascinated. My ADHD kicked in. I'm like, how do they do that with their feet? And then I went down a rabbit hole. Anyways,
Okay.
all that to say is that I am only semi-good at a lot of things. I like learning new things. So that left me with like, I'm not good. I don't feel like I'm good enough at anything or really excited about any one thing enough. I'm excited about a lot of things. So like that doesn't feel like I could do anything with that. And so I ended up starting a new page last year, really kind of as an experiment to show our students kind of this whole thing. And also it was kind of therapeutic for myself. So my son was diagnosed with autism in June of last year. And it was really heavy. We suspected, but we didn't have a diagnosis until then. And so I was like, you know what, let's start. Actually, Megan talked me into it because I was really hesitant about starting a page talking about it. And it ended up being really cathartic, but I grew that page really quickly.
Really quickly.
Really quickly. And I only posted once a day for like 3 months and got to like 11,000 followers. And I was literally just talking about my experience and like I made mom humor. Like I wasn't telling people like what to do with their autistic children because I was still figuring it out. It was more like humor and just talking about my experience and, you know, those very niche situations within, you know, having a child who was autistic, and it blew up, and it was effortless because it was something that I knew so intimately, and other people did too. There was other people out there with the same like level of like children with the same level as autism as mine, and they were experiencing the same things. And so I was able to turn something that I had lived and experienced into a social media profile. I hadn't gone on to monetize it because that's a tricky topic, but there is something to be said for just what you've gone through. And it's not that you have to monetize like something super hard or touchy, but like if you've gone through like a really tricky situation with relationships and you've like gotten really good at handling confrontation, you could like teach people how to like handle confrontation. That's just like one random piece of like example for that.
And I follow somebody else who's been through that.
Through what?
And I can't remember her name, but she talks about she went through a really difficult relationship, and I think she moved across the world for her fiance, and then he called off the wedding, or she found out he was cheating.
Oh my gosh.
And so she turned that really hard experience into a business where she helps people identify maybe red flags in a relationship, or she really just kind of helps women get a little bit more confident in their worth and help identify good partners, really, like traits in a good partner.
And it doesn't have to be like a bad experience.
No.
It could just be something that like you've gained wisdom through.
But a lot of the times we gain wisdom through hard experiences or knowledge.
Another example could be like, let's say you're like a military wife and y'all have moved 57 times and you figured out how to like pack and unpack like a pro super fast in like record time and make it so easy. And that's something that you could teach and you would like reach the military families. Like it's just like really random things, but these are like lived experiences.
So it's interesting that you brought that up because one of the kiddos that plays on my son's football team, he's from a military family and his dad has actually moved to the next station and they're waiting here because they can't sell their house. Anyways, they've moved a lot, and I was talking to her about it. She was asking about our business, and I was like, you know, you could even do a guide on how you're getting your family set up in the next state before you even get there, like what it looks like, things not to forget, what it looks like to register for school. How do you know who to reach out to? You know, just getting your whole life settled when you get there, because some of these wives or moms are new to the military world, and there are when you move, like I just did it twice recently, there's so many things that you need to be remembered to do, especially when you're moving from state to state, because so many states are different. Like what the different setting up the water and electricity in California was so incredibly different than it was in Texas. It's so different. In fact, we did it wrong twice. And sounds great. And even
you want to make a guide?
Yes. And when we moved back to Texas, we turned off our water incorrectly. Like we called the water company and I like worded it wrong. So they turned off something else. And the rent, so like it was still in our name and we got like a $2,000 water bill. Thankfully the landlord was so kind and she was like, I understand that you're really dumb and you did it wrong. So she
Let's be real. That was California too.
It was crazy. But I mean, like she could literally, she's lived in like 12 different states, just make guides on how to move and ease people's
or like
struggles.
a checklist for things that you need to consider
like,
moving states.
These are things that are going to come up.
School, insurance, registration.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, everything.
All of the things.
Yeah.
And once you make them, they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have some students who they talk about like living with adult children and they literally they're basing it off of their circumstances and they're able to do that, which I think is incredible. I think a lot of people just overlook that.
So good piece of niche advice. Number 1, summarize that. And then we'll go to the next one.
So in a nutshell, like your niche is lived, like it picks you. Like your niche essentially picks you.
That's true. Because like I said, if I were going to start a niche, it would talk about PCOS, living with it, supplements, how to manage it.
Yeah.
And it chose me. I definitely didn't choose the PCOS life.
No.
So, I mean, that's true. That's exactly, consider that. That's one option for
Yeah,
niche.
it doesn't mean that's what you have to do, but
What's niche advice number 2?
Yeah. Let's do another one, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about in episode 3.
Okay.
So I always really liked the advice that you can bring up another one if you want. I'll make mine really short. I always like the advice that even if you are in a 9-to-5, you can, and you want to work from home or take it online, you absolutely can. And we have members who are doing that. Like we have a couple different attorneys who are working in office or owned their own practices who are now, like you talked about, giving relationship advice or just like having guides on divorce or have guides on going through different legal processes. We have a member so cool that she taught us that there was, I can't remember what the website's called, but you can like travel Airbnb, like pet sitting.
Yeah.
You could travel the world just pet sitting because you get to stay in their home. House sitting. No, it's pet sitting.
But it's both.
But yeah. And you get to stay for free. And she's like traveled the world doing it. And she's now starting an online business teaching people how to do it.
Yeah, and how to navigate things like mail and like everything like that.
Yeah. So like even if you have a 9-to-5 and you're an attorney or there's so many different options.
Truly.
There's a good chance that there's a way to turn that into an online business for yourself and give you some freedom.
I've seen nurses, like RNs who are working full time, and they have made like guides for brand new grads on how to survive their first year of being a full-time nurse on the floor. Right. And that's huge. I would have bought that if I had known it existed my first year of nursing. That would have been incredibly helpful. But so all of this is just to really just show you the possibility. But like at the end of the day,
I have a piece of advice too.
Oh, well, go.
I was going to say, I was like trying to signal to you. Like I can't just interrupt.
Sorry. You can interrupt me. You do it all the time.
Well, what I was saying, the last piece of advice that if you haven't kind of gathered that from everything that we're sharing, is you are your niche, right? Like people aren't coming for just the information you're selling. They're coming to you because of the way you present this information, the way you've lived this information, the way you share it in particular, and your unique experiences. And so even if you feel like you don't have any exceptional experiences, even if you don't have a health condition that you feel like somebody else would benefit learning from, you are your own niche. Like I would just say post on social media. There are so many women making a living by sharing their outfits, and I follow tons of them.
Yeah.
They share the outfits that they're wearing. They share the makeup that they're using. They share the supplements that they're taking. They talk about, they just like come with me as a work from home or remote, whatever worker.
As a sports mom, making crock pot meals in the car between practices.
And there are so many opportunities for you to even monetize just that. When you just introduce yourself and you kind of share your day-to-day life. Brands will reach out to you once you get to a certain point. Then you can have brand deals with these groups. And I do that myself.
Right.
Just because of having a following. The power of social media and the power of a personal brand, which is when you niche yourself, that's what we call a personal brand. You are the brand. People come to you for you, and then they buy the products that you talk about because they trust you, who you are as a person. And I think a lot of people overlook that. And I'm not just talking about like UGC content. I'm not just talking about brand deals. I'm saying become a content creator. If you don't know what your niche is yet, if you don't really know how to dial it in, be your niche. Post your content. Introduce yourself to the world. Talk about who you are. Talk about how you live your life, the things that you go through.
Even if you don't have something to sell yet, people are getting to know you, and people are getting to know your brand, and they're getting to trust you, so that whenever you do decide to affiliate for a product or sell your own digital product, it's going to be a no-brainer for your following.
And another thing that we didn't really talk about, because I think niche could be a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
but
it really could.
Once you choose a niche, you don't have to stick with it. You can change it.
Absolutely.
You can pivot. You can do whatever you want with it. So choosing a niche isn't final. My first digital project was about Instagram growth. I didn't stick with Instagram growth. I still kind of talk about it, but I've grown beyond that. So I'm able to talk about multiple things because I started with Instagram growth. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Your niche is not the end all be all.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, if I pick this and it's wrong, it's over. And then I have to quit.
Change it. Next year, you're going to be a different person. We grow. So your niche and your business are going to grow with you.
Or maybe you start one and you're like, I am not as excited about this as I thought I would be. And I don't I'm not in it. I don't feel aligned with it. Cool. You're not a tree. Like, you can move. Like, you can start over. And the stakes are so low when you're on Instagram and starting over. It's not like it's not like a brick and mortar where you have to just physically do everything. You can wake up one day and be like, I'm going to change my bio. I'm going to start a new Instagram page, and I'm just going to start talking about something else.
Yeah, I'm going to create a different piece of content.
And that's literally all it is. And you're not hurting anyone's feelings. You're not letting anyone down.
It would be a lot of work, but you could also have two.
Yeah.
Like, if you started one and it was crazy successful and it was boring to you, but your products are still making passive income, leave it up. Start a new one.
Yeah. I feel like so many people just in niche put so many rules around it. And there's really no rules.
There's literally no rules.
There's no rules because it's you. Now, there's not to say that there's not a right and a wrong way to build a brand, but that's the tedium stuff that we teach, in our courses. But as far as who you are and who you want to talk to and what you want to talk about, there are no rules.
There's no laws when you're drinking claws.
Why did I know you were going to say that?
I did not know where you were going with that.
Unfortunately.
I think also when you're talking about you being the niche, we're going to talk about in episode 3, saturation. So many people are worried about saturation when you're choosing what your topic is. You are not saturated. You are your own person. There's nobody else out there who is you. No one else has your personality, the way you're going to come across for your business, the way you're creating content.
Yeah, we've got a lot to say about that.
So we can talk more about that, obviously. But don't worry about saturation because there's literally only one of you. So
we're going to dive all into that.
I don't know what to tell you.
So if you've been having anxiety about saturation and whatever you want to talk about, make sure you listen to the next episode because we're going to make you feel a lot better. And it's not just our opinion. It's just the truth.
Facts.
It's just we be spitting facts.
Ew.
Ew.
Did I sound like Gen Z?
Well, that's why I said facts.
And then I made it worse.
Yeah, she really did.
If there are other like really cool, funny niches though, please reach out and tell us.
Please.
You can on Instagram reach out to Megan at the Megan Hall and then Paige at the Paige Herzog. No numbers, no underscores, just their names, and make sure the blue check is there. Otherwise, you're gonna be chatting with a scammer
From Nigeria.
From Nigeria. But tell us about all the fun niches.
Yes, send us your most unhinged niche. Let's keep it clean. We don't know anything like weird. That makes me uncomfortable. But
PG-13 at the
PG-13.
worst.
Yeah. But send us the most unhinged niche or account you've ever found.
Cannot wait.
Because I want to dive into that. All right. We will see y'all in episode 3.
Bye.